Thanks for watching our show. Thanks to Joe here who handled everything, our cameraman. Last week he had 3 different titles. I think I posted it on Facebook. Joe's right in here. Devin locked the door. He's in the control room. Aaron couldn't make it because of the storm. It was storming in Southside. We just got hit with the storm. That's our weather report. We have a lot of great sports to talk about. And if you don't know about Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook, we're moving up. I think it was like in the 380s right now, so we're trying to get to that 500. Like us there. We just put up a new cover page photo. Robert Hester, one of our guests, took a nice picture there and put us up. You even see Little Z in another picture. So we got a lot of stuff going on there. And, of course, we want to talk sports. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. We got Chip the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier. And we got little Mini-Me Z. Oh, and little Z, Zach Brenner with Brenner Contracting, come in. Right from the storm. I think he moved 3 trees when he got here because they're all over the place. What we talk about first is what's on our mind. Little Z, what's on your mind? Thanks, Joe.
Well, Al Levine, the talking machine, what's on my mind? I want to talk about the Steelers, and I'm a lot more optimistic than Smoking Jim is. I'm real hopeful that this running back that we drafted can really step in and make an impact, but, you know, that's why they play the games. We got 4 preseason games here to get it all sorted out, and you know, hopefully, I'm predicting 10-6. Al Levine's at 11-5. Smoking Jim is, where were you at? Like 1-15.
Let him speak for himself. Don't talk for him. Don't talk for him. The draft was a D minus.
He told Tomlin to throw the season and hopefully get a better draft position. That was, I heard Brazil whispering that to Smoking Jim in the draft room.
Did you see her finally? Because I missed her.
Like I said, I always try to give her a hug, but it's kind of awkward, so always working on it. So, but I'm going to try Pittsburgh Sportsline, Little Z. I'm going to try to get up to Latrobe for training camp and bear through one of those hot days. It's bad enough doing it, working on the job, so I'm going to see how long I can get in bed.
Who you going to get a picture with?
Probably Brett Kiesel. That's my goal.
I just wanted to compliment you on your beard. I thought it needed a little trim, but it does not tonight. It looks good. Joe, whatever you're doing on the camera, you made that beard look good. I have no fear tonight of the beard.
Little Z always getting a little trim.
No trim. No trim.
I
The
know,
barber
but
always
Smoking
tries
Jim
to cut
talks
it.
about different subjects.
The barber always tries to cut it.
What we're going to do, he's not going to Zazu for any haircut, beard cut, or anything else. We're going to go right to Smoking Jim. What's on your mind besides the beard?
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine. But my Spotlight Player of the Week, and it goes right on time. I didn't even plan it. Steelers open up Friday, and I'm going to the first round.
You are a genius.
I'm a genius, right on time. I couldn't have planned it any better. Thank you, Howard Cosell. But my Spotlight Player of the Week goes to Super Slow Jones, Jarvis Jones. Jarvis Jones is first-round draft pick. I'm predicting he'll be a bust this year. Only runs a 40 and 4.92. That was on a fast track. He has a vertical jump of a white guy, 30 inches, no explosion. You can't even put a piece of paper under his foot, so he has no explosion. Only Hall of Fame he's going to is the Subway Hall of Fame. I hope they're paying him enough. But here's the prediction that I'm making about Jarvis Jones. Not only will he sit the bench behind an average player like Jason Worlds, but I'm predicting by mid-season he'll be demoted to 3rd string and he won't even get a helmet on game day. So that's my prediction. Super slow, Jarvis Jones.
Wait a second. What were the reps? What were the bench reps?
I got to throw
20
the
reps.
flag. I got to throw the flag, buddy. Hold it. We got a flag on this one, folks. As for the revisitation, now he's new, and I know
that's not true. That's not true. Normally he gives me how many bench reps at 225 pounds.
Hold it. Who else is promoting you like this? And it's storming out there, and his phone's off the hook, folks. It's the table's vibrating. That's not just Smoking Jim. All right? We'll revisit that. That's why we invented that thing, because all this sports talk. Are you done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Chip the Prophet Hayner, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Alan. What's on my mind? Disaster struck the Pittsburgh Pirates last night. Jason Grilly is on the disabled list, but everybody remain calm. But what's really on my mind is how once again Bud Selig just completely screwed up everything. And, you know, the Major League Baseball went after Ryan Braun, and they aggressively pursued him because he beat a positive drug test by by contesting the chain of custody. Okay?
Technicality.
A technicality. So, you know, they made sure that they went after him, and they've got some ironclad evidence that he was guilty of what they said he was, that he was juicing, using illegal performance-enhancing drugs. So they decided to drop the hammer on him. Well, maybe the hammer missed just slightly. Now, let me explain to you what
Explain
they
it,
did to Ryan Braun. Now, Ryan Braun is suspended for the rest of this season. That's 65 games. Sounds like a pretty big number.
Yeah.
Well, when you look at it, Ryan Braun 2 years ago signed a $140 million contract.
Wow.
So, him being suspended for the last 2 months of this season is going to cost him a mere $3 million. Next year, he's going to get welcomed back by the Milwaukee Brewers, and he still has $120 million left on his contract that's guaranteed. So he was really spanked hard. And, you know, once again, we're showing that the Major League Baseball's disciplinary system is completely flawed. Personally, myself, what they should have done to Ryan Braun, they should have suspended him for the rest of this season and suspend him for the entire season next year. That would have had some teeth to it. That would have shown people that they're serious about, cleaning up baseball. But no, we didn't do that. Now, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to wait around until they go and decide to come up with punishment for A-Rod. Now, you know what the punishment for Alex Rodriguez should be? He's an admitted user. He's been caught more than once. He should be banned from baseball for life, okay? But what's probably going to happen is they'll suspend him. He'll negotiate a suspension of 150 games so that he'll get to resurrect his career and still collect on the $105 million that the New York Yankees owe him for the next 3 years. So, you know, I mean, in the interest of trying to do the right thing, you know, punishing these players without positive drug tests, I applaud the effort there. But, the message still is not getting through. I mean, you know, there is no real punishment for cheating. I mean, basically, you know, you're giving people a slap on the wrist. You're taking a handful of change out of their pocket, and they're reaping, you know, the rewards of their cheating. Ryan Braun, it's 3 words I've got to describe him. He's a liar, he's a cheat, and he's a fraud. I think he should be out of baseball, but that's what's on.
We're definitely revisiting that, Chip. We all got points and questions on that one. I don't know if I can hold back. I'm ready to revisit. Nah, never mind. We'll get there. I still got to announce this national convention with unicycles. It's here. They've already been out there a few days. Hopefully it's not raining up in Butler. Dev and I are making a road trip. Chip, he got GPS, so we'll be able to find it.
Okay, well, I got a bag of breadcrumbs. Just drop them behind you as you go.
You got to go first up north for us. And Trina Hess has been featured in a couple of the races on Facebook and everything, so hopefully we'll get some interviews.
She actually came into 4th place. I saw
know,
she posted in 4th place. Congratulations, Trina.
And I reposted it, shared it, so it's worldwide now, and like Pittsburgh Sportsline on Facebook. We'll be up there and we'll give you a report. Hopefully we'll get some great interviews with Dave Crack. Oh, by the way, Chief, thanks for giving me that Post-Gazette article on our man Dave Crack. It was quite the article there. Then Sunday we have our July 28th, Rev 'em Up for Kids. It's for the Bethel Park Junior Football League. And all the proceeds, guys, this goes right to the teams and the players there, so it all goes back right to the kids that need it.
They're paying the players?
Well, yeah, they have to. They give them equipment.
Just like Gateway.
They give them equipment.
That seems to be the formula.
But there's no Gateway recruiters there. Oh, Smoking Jim's going to be in the house. Darn. Hey, Johnny Halo and the Angels will be there.
All right, my
So
favorite.
you're going to have that. We'll give you some links out there, folks. And then I got to go to what's on my mind. And, whoa, whose phone's going off there? It's distracting. I thought it was lightning. Oh, that's thunder. What's on my mind is a lot of this stuff out in sports. I'm going to talk about the Ryan Braun stuff on the revisitation. Chip, I got to watch what I talk about, especially with little Z, because these guys, they must be on the same wavelength, and they go first. They're picking up everything that I wanted. Steelers, because you guys know, you mentioned 11-5. Braun and the Major League Baseball Selig should be fired.
Well, you know,
So
I'm gonna be.
yeah.
He's my whipping boy.
We're going back, so I'm going Buccos. Look at this. They got more wins than they did back in 2010. Sure, Grilly, something happened with his arm, but we have a lot of players. They even moved. We'll talk to this on the Pirates segment. We have players that are moving up. Inge, I'll announce that. They had to let him go. He had all these great contact lenses, and it kept the guys loose. But now they're too loose. They got to cut him loose. So we're going to go back to revisit what's on our mind. And I want to start right into Ryan Braun here because, first of all, he really is a two-time offender. The technicality didn't matter. And he was so condescending to people. And another guy named Rogers was going to bet his whole salary, so it had me fired up.
$39.5 million.
So here's my point. These guys gambled. Now, Smoking Jim's one of my favorite. He's a best friend of mine. 6 times last year I had to bet the house. 4 I did win. Okay? But that was at the end. No, it's the opposite. I'm sorry. I lost 4.
Yeah,
2
please
come
clarify
back.
that,
Yeah,
please.
2 come back at the end.
Thank
I got
you.
confused
Thank
because
you.
39 million is a large number. If you're trying to back a guy who already was guilty because his urine was tainted, you don't get synthetic testosterone by just walking down the street.
Well, you know,
Right.
here's the thing that's crazy. You know, you see what happened to Pete Rose. Pete Rose is probably one of the greatest baseball players that ever lived, okay? And he broke the cardinal rule in baseball. He bet on baseball. He bet on his own team as
And
manager.
against
the
it,
Reds.
just so the bookies told me.
Right, you know, but here's the thing. He lied about it for years. And what did that get him? That got him a lifetime ban from baseball.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, well, you know what? If the shoe fits, I mean, what's wrong with, you know, the same thing from, you know, I mean, you want to
Just
really...
lie.
You know
You
Bud
would-
Selig doesn't have the goal to suspend
You know,
A-Rod for the remainder
and
of
I
his
hear
career.
that Bud Selig's going after these players because he's worried about his legacy. I mean, you know what? You shouldn't have to worry about your legacy. Your legacy is about on the equivalent of Bozo the Clown.
Correct.
Well, in history, here's how his legacy. For guys that read books, I forgot the books, Little Z. The Rain. You know, I had 3 books lined up here, but his book is not going to be one you want to read.
Is there going to be any pictures in his book other than a clown?
Well, he'll be on the cover, so you decide. But think about it. All they're doing is window dressing after this. They knew the players were on all this stuff. Come on now.
Well, you know, and here's the one last thing about Ryan Braun, and I think it's very, very ironic that Ryan Braun accepted the punishment because let's think about where the Milwaukee Brewers are right now. They're in last place. They're going nowhere. Oh, he's not really going to hurt the team, so the team probably told him, you know what, sit out the rest of this year. We're out of it. We don't have a chance in hell. You're not going to do any damage to the team. Come back next year, you know, we'll stock the roster, and we'll have a chance. And I think that's a bunch of malarkey, if
Well,
you ask
here's
me.
another point, and I happen to be listening to The Fan. And I was listening to one of the guys that's a super genius, and I'm not a big fan of his. I know a lot of people are. But he did make a couple nice points that this salary that he's not going to get, the Brewers already committed to it, so why don't they donate that to charity or something?
Good point.
And that would help out in the communities, maybe drug awareness with
He's
like
not- he's not-
illegal.
Or a
He's not on
campaign
the-
to
he's-
banish PEDs and
That's
the youth.
part exactly.
youth
That's
sports.
what I'm getting to.
He's not on the Fan though.
Who?
Who you're talking
I know.
about?
He's
Okay.
he's on the X.
No, that
I don't
actually-
like to promote the X on.
Okay.
Oh, what's wrong with that?
No,
I like the X.
No,
I
that,
listen to
that's
the
actually
X,
a really,
but
really
not
good
him.
idea.
Okay.
No, that's really, really a good idea. You know, what the amount of salary, you know, say A-Rod gets suspended for a year. That's $30 million that could buy a lot of good for, you know.
Well, what I wanted to see is Aaron Rodgers say, okay, I lost the bet. Now, who do I give it to? That can help a lot of organizations all over the country.
You think Discount Double Choke would ever do anything like
He
that?
said it. You mean these guys aren't heroes in the true sense of it? You mean I'm not supposed to look up to these guys? Hey, Rodgers.
No, it's just,
That was good
No, but here's the one thing, and just to kind of wrap this point up, I find it very unusual that the only people that got caught up in this biogenesis scam were baseball players. Now, these are professional athletes that are looking for an edge. Where's the football players? Where's the soccer players? Where's the hockey players? I mean, is it only baseball players are the ones that are juicing and cheating?
Well, let's ask
I
Smoke
mean,
and Jim
where
about-
are all the rest of the professional athletes? I just find it very curious that it's only baseball
Or
players.
the
Well,
football
it's
players
baseball's
juicing.
turn to take a fall because of ceiling.
No, I just find it curious.
It's going to cycle all the way through.
Al Levine just told the Pitt roster to juice up last night. Wasn't it the Pitt football
No, this is
roster?
for years. No.
Oh, you're talking about the Pirates.
See, for years, because think about it. Right now, with us having this renaissance of winning some games, we'd already have about 75 wins right now. That would give you that edge. I've been saying it for about 4 or 5 years. Just give them the juice, and they got to stay here for a while. We wouldn't have lost all these players. They would have had Tommy John surgery, and they'd be juicing because you need HGH
Well,
also to heal up and recover.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the NFL Players Association is going to allow the players to be tested for HGH.
That's why I
This
segued right
preseason-
to you, buddy.
This preseason, but nobody can be punished for it. So I'm thinking, wow, the Steelers have got nothing but question marks. You know what? They ought to put table out with bottles full of this stuff.
Well, I'm not
on the
going to
training
mention.
Well,
tables.
then, like I said, everybody down on the
know,
south side should
because
juice
you know
them.
what? You're not
Pitt,
going to
the
get
Steelers.
punished. Why not reap the benefits and then
Z, you're on the team now. I'm glad you finally understood this. I'm not going to repeat it. You got to watch our show when we post it because you can just relive your days back to the 70s when all the teams were doing certain things, folks.
Well, tell me, because I didn't come into play until 1984. That's when I entered the world.
It was
So
still going
tell
on.
me what was going
The
on
vitamins.
in the 70s.
They had
Yeah, I don't
plates
know
of
about these
vitamins.
vitamins.
Well, ask Charlie because he was a union rep. He'll tell you back in the day, and it'll be off the record, and you'll get the true story. We'll talk off the air here because everybody else knows. I was going to bring in my book on Ball 4 so you could find out about baseball players, how they were able to play a 162-game season and have some very high highs and not so many low
Well,
lows.
let me ask you guys this about the old time players. Chip's always talking about these guys from like the 40s and 50s, 60s, 70s.
Right.
Stuff. Well, up until what the 70s or 80s, what were these guys taking?
Well, when they
Like,
found steroids
yeah,
in the 70s.
they found steroids in the 70s, so baseball was legitimate up until like the 70s, pretty much. Like it was clean, no matter how you look
No,
at it.
not 100%.
How were these guys drinking, smoking cigarettes in the
Here's
dugout?
how they did it. There's a legend who drank a lot of beer and ate a lot of hot dogs, Babe Ruth. So,
That's what he
guys,
did?
I know stories. I worked at the Pittsburgh Press. I knew guys that drank with the Wainers, Big Poison and Little Poison. And one of the
Oh,
greatest
really?
stories I heard, they're at an after hours club. If you want a little fiction and fact from my almanac, they were at an after hours club, which you don't see too many around. For all you boys and girls that are under the age of 21, this is just a story. This is just fiction here, no fact. But they were drinking till like 10 o'clock in the morning from the night before. And the guy that I was working with is an older gentleman. He goes, I went to bed. They had a double header. And now these guys between them, you can check up the, Chip will have to check out, whatever this double header was. It was in Pittsburgh. I think between them they had about 10 hits, 11 hits. Two brothers, Big Poison and Little Poison. And they were so drunk that they had to get a cab to get to the game. So all these, and they had other jobs because they didn't get paid much back then. So there was a lot of shenanigans going on. Were there some great athletes? Sure, Lou Gehrig, some other guys like
the only
that.
thing that you didn't have then that you have now is you didn't have reporters in the locker room. You didn't have reporters in your hotel room. You didn't have mass media, so that every time you picked your nose,
Paparazzi.
you picked your nose, that it became national news. So, things went on, and I'm sure things went on back then. But as science improved and they found ways of making bigger, faster, and stronger human beings, it impacted the game somewhat. But there was things going on then. They just didn't become public.
So there's
knowledge.
always going to be cheaters in any sport, though.
That's why
But
they have rules.
there has to be rules, and people have to enforce the rules for the integrity of all these games and all these sports, and
Right.
for the youth and for the future. So I disagree. I don't think anybody should get juiced up. I'm all natural, man, and I'm strong as heck, so I
I'm
don't have to take
sarcastic.
anything.
For anybody that thought I was serious, including Little Z, I'm sarcastic. I
Oh,
think
Chip
they
said
should
the
be.
Steelers should get juiced
I
up.
think they. Well, some of that were being facetious. I don't know if you heard. I threw the facetious word out last
but
night.
What
Look
if
that up.
What if you're one of the players that isn't juicing and you're watching somebody like Ryan Braun getting paid $25 million a year,
Right,
and you're out
right.
there struggling like hell making
$2 million.
a paltry $2 to $3 million a year, just barely making ends meet. Having to buy the cheap white bread and a pound of bologna so you can eat some lunch.
Bologna.
Oh yeah, with $3 million.
Yeah, but
tough
I mean,
decisions.
but if I was one of the players that was doing things right, and I would be pretty good and pissed at some of my teammates.
And it's human nature. People are all looking for an edge, whether it is Ty Cobb being mean, and coming in spikes first all the time and chasing people and being a racist. That's what he was. So there's an edge. Everybody looks at it. You've played sports. Now, when you cross the line and there's nobody going to stop you, that's where these guys, then it's not the sport anymore that we're talking about. And that's what I'm against.
A lot of skill to hit a 99-mile-per-hour fastball coming down the pipe.
Oh, yeah.
Put it, so the baseball is one of the few sports where hand-eye coordination, like golf and such. Some people don't think golf is a sport. I think golf is a sport. Some people don't think NASCAR is a sport. I think NASCAR is a sport. It takes a lot of energy to drive around. Even if you're going all right turns.
Ted Williams, one of the greatest hitters that ever played the game, and he was the last person to bat 400 for a season, said that he felt that the single hardest thing to do in sports is to hit a round baseball with a round bat that's pitched, at 90, 100 miles an hour.
I sure seen a lot of people do it. Everybody says it's so hard, but sure.
But what's
Smoking Jim,
Not a
your
lot of people
insights-
go to the league, though.
Your
They just
insights
make
are
a
off the
living
charts,
from it.
buddy.
But
A lot of people go to Altoona.
We were waiting for you. 'Cause you know what? If you didn't say
There's a
that,
lot of
I'd have
broken
never
dreams.
understood it.
Jim,
There's a boulevard of broken
if it was so
Yogi
easy-
Bear here.
No, Jim, listen to me. If it was so easy to do, why is it that you have to fail 7 times out of 10 to be considered successful? A 300 hitter, that's 7 times out of 10 that they're making it out. So it's really not as easy as some people make it seem.
It's not.
How about if you raced when you were a world-class sprinter? If you lost 7 out of every 10 times you won, we wouldn't even see you now.
That's true.
You parlayed that into a career.
That's true.
So think about it. So I got to back Chip up on that. He's strong on that point. When you fail 7 times, that shows how tenacious you are.
I was just running through the sports in my mind and thinking of like the toughest ones to just go out and play at like the highest level. A lot of them, ice hockey, you have to be able to skate. So that's essential.
Well, how
to play
about
ice
puck
hockey.
handling,
That's
too?
why Smoking Jim never gave it a go.
Well, there's another
Hey,
reason, too.
He doesn't swim in water, and he sure as heck isn't going to skate on frozen water either.
All right, we're going to go to something more fun, although this has been Sip Sports Bar last night. What a great show. I want to thank Jessica Danielle for giving me a free drink card to her event on Saturday, July 27th. And it's the Fade Fest. There's going to be bands and everything else. 1 complimentary Click Vodka cocktail. Give me a call, like me on Facebook. If you know me, I'll give it to you.
I got bottles of that stuff at the house. You want a bottle of Click Vodka?
I said,
I'll give
man,
you better than a
I'm
drink.
giving this away.
Oh, you're
You're
giving
not
that
listening
away?
to me. Jeez,
I'm
it's
trying
gone.
to give you a bottle.
It's gone.
Wow.
But that was Sip Sports Bar. We had a great show. We had guests from all walks of life. Smoking Jim had like a third of his family there.
And you're darker than my family.
I know.
Shit,
You
we
fix that light
We
there.
had guests from as far north as Cranberry and as far south as Austin,
Hold it.
Texas.
He's talking about the Chip Hayner clan that come in. And then they wouldn't leave the show.
They wouldn't leave.
I ended up talking to Lori and Bob. We're talking green tea, so I'm going to have a show about green tea. And they love green tea.
He said
so.
tea, not teeth.
Well, wait, green T-shirt. What was that? Mean green.
There was a couple good athletes in the building last night.
Yeah, the
That's
Hayner
Sip
crew.
Sports
The
Bar.
Hayner crew brought in some tokens.
Yes, they did. They did do that. And
That's great to see, man. I love to see it.
we had
man.
Brandon Action Jackson coming in.
Keysport Tiger,
The Keysport Tiger. He,
rival
Texas
to
Tech
those
Red
Gateway
Raiders, right?
Gators.
That
he
boy gonna
actually
be a
knew
beast.
my uncle, Harry LeWinter. He knew him from McKeesport.
Really?
Yeah, he's a legend out there teaching.
Wow.
My
Legend
mother's
of his own
side
name.
of the family there. So
Wow.
when I drop names, they're live people. They're real people. No Brazil there. And then we had your cousin from Johnstown out of Florida. Go ahead.
Dion Primetime Moore.
Prime time.
Another one. So we have Shafino Hood that goes down to North Carolina. We have another kid that goes down to Florida. So this is why Western Pennsylvania is just like
Hold it, we're
getting
everywhere.
we're getting just milk
That's
to
what
death of all of
That's
our
what Gateway
talent.
gets for getting rid of Terry Smith.
Coach Smith, Temple. Shout out to Coach Smith.
Yeah, but little Z, what you got to understand, when you see all these Steeler fans in every stadium in the country, we're already there. And when we move around the country and have kids and whatever else, they're still from Pittsburgh. They got those Pittsburgh roots.
Good point.
I even posted on our Facebook page, a friend of mine, somehow he got the Jolly Roger up on the moon where the flag is.
But sometimes
So-
bad things happen when kids come from out of state, like Tino Sinceri came back to the Pitt Panthers, and what happened to Tino Sinceri? I think he's down in the strip district.
Let's change the subject. We're still at Sip Sports Bar and the Kamikaze Kid. We can
He
discuss
couldn't
that.
even make an arena football team.
Right. But I wanted to give you a couple insights. Monday night is Pittsburgh Sports Line there. A lot of people are asking, when is it? Watch this video. Oh, you already are. It's Monday nights.
Still waiting for that Campede's pizza on Tuesday.
Hold
to
it.
come on
Tuesday
Monday.
night, Little Z, if you would have come up West Liberty Avenue, I had the deal worked out. They would have gave you 4 cuts of pizza there. No cost.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you just got to
Oh,
show up,
man.
buddy. Come on. We'll work
I
it
don't
out
miss
next
I don't
week.
miss that stuff.
Don Campedi, you know, take care of the kid here. He loves your pizza. Wednesday night, it is ladies' night, dollar drinks, but I call it Smoking Jim's night because he'll show up. Dollar
All you
drinks,
got to do is put on the red light.
definitely. He'll be there. Then 25-cent wings every Thursday night. Dan was asking where Smoking Jim and I were, and we were there last week because we had a nice panel on Jessica Lee's Jazz Networking. We were there, so we a little too late. They have entertainment every Friday, Saturday. They also have free parking after 4 o'clock. Watch which side of the street you're on, Smoking Jim. You can't go against traffic there. And they got drink specials. Happy hours, 4 o'clock every day. They got food specials. The sweet sausage was great last night.
Yes, it was.
I lost count of how many we had, but it was all good eating, folks. We'll see you on Monday night there. Stop out there at Sip Sports Bar. We're going to have a great show next week. We
Hi,
got
Tina,
Alicia
Mark.
Sparks coming back into town. I'm not going to say any more. She had events this week, even last night, so she couldn't make it. And she'll be here in the house.
I'm trying to host her at the Brenner Contracting Aquatic Center.
Well, you can work on that. We want the videos there, so we'll check that out too.
We got video.
Now we're going to go to a couple of the favorite segments that I have. The first one up is Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine, and I try to bring a little visuals in. We
Let's
got
see.
a sheet here. You know, it's Charles Barkley when he was.
You weren't lying.
Yeah, so it's Charles Barkley with some of my models. I got a fashion group called Diamond
You
Gems.
got to get a close-up of that.
Yeah,
Can you get one?
Diamond Gems, and Big Charles Barkley was there.
Because there's a lot of fans of Smoking Jim. When they see some of
Yeah.
the people in the photo, they're going to go crazy there.
And some beautiful models there, and Charles Barkley. Look at that big hand.
Thanks, Joe.
Look at
Excellent
that big hand.
job.
Do you see that big hand he has around her waist?
Yes,
Look how
I
big
did.
that hand is, you know.
The
And
mound.
Brown and rebounding. He was at the Willie Stargell MVP banquet, which is our banquet, which is the second largest banquet in the state of Pennsylvania, only second to the Dapper Dam banquet. And here we have, as you can see, my eyes here is looking at Esther Nunez'
Wow.
shoes. I'm checking out her shoes. I'm looking down at her shoes
Yeah,
here.
right.
Oh, you
But
didn't
Al-
have a cell phone at that time.
Esther, yeah, that was good. But Esther Nunez is a former national salsa dancing champion. That's Smoking Jim here on
Is that
the
an
other
Antoine
side.
Randall jersey?
Yeah, that's Antoine Randall or John Stallworth's
Stallworth,
jersey, but
I
I think
think.
it was Antoine Randall.
Oh.
But she is a national salsa dancer. She's also was in my fashion group, the Diamond Gems. And lastly,
There's another one, a trifecta.
here's another one of my love of my life, Esther Nunez, beautiful girl. But if you look over here to the side, that's Steeler Hall of Famer Elsie
Elsie
Greenwood,
Greenwood, yes,
Yeah.
who
sir.
was a guest on the show.
Hollywood Bags.
Hollywood Bags. And that's my Fiction and Facts LC over here. And that's my fiction and facts with Smoking Jim's Almanac is Elsie Greenwood. And L.C. Greenwood was on the show, and Hollywood Bags shared with me on the show the reason why he wore gold shoes. Does anybody know why he wore gold shoes?
I heard the story.
He wore gold shoes because early in his career, he come up with Joe Green. And every time he would make a tackle, Joe Green would get credit for the tackles. And Joe Green made enough tackles himself, so he would get his credit and LC's credit. So LC wore the gold shoes, and every time he would make a tackle, when he was on his back, he'd put his legs straight up in the air. He was 6'8", and would shake his shoes, so the announcers knew it was him that made the tackle. So I was real emotional that day because LC Greenwood had been 15 straight years a finalist on the Hall of Fame ballot. And again, it was his last year's eligibility before he goes into the old timers. Mm-hmm. And I was all mad. I'm emotional. I'm cutting in on him. I won't let him get a word in edgewise. I'm cutting in. And I'm like, you should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I'm emotional. So LC says, where's the Hall? He says, Smoking Jim. And his fingers is going this way. I mean, you ever see LC's fingers? It's going anyway, I didn't know who he was talking to. I'm like, watch out, Esther. But he says, Smoking Jim. He says, where's the Hall of Fame at? He said, Canton. He says, I'll be in Canton one way or another. I said, you will? I was all excited. I'm like, LC, you going to be in Canton? He says, yeah. He says, I'm from Canton, Mississippi, and my burial plot is there. So whether I'm in Canton or not, I'll be buried in Canton. I said, okay, LC. That's my fiction and fact, Smoking Jim's Almanac. LC Greenwood will be in Canton.
That's a great one.
One way or the other.
Going back in your time machine, too, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing the great photos there. That keeps your legend alive.
He has to bring real photos now with dry ink.
Little Z. At least let him have his 10 seconds here, you know?
Hey, anytime he doesn't bring pictures of Terrell Pryor from Jeanette and make that his fiction and fact.
Speaking of Pryor, okay.
You talking about Richard?
We'll say
I
that
love
for-
Richard Pryor.
I wouldn't bring any.
That'll be
Pryor
our
photos.
comedy segment. That's
He
coming
definitely
up.
has the
Z,
pictures of
we got a
Terrell Pryor.
comedy segment. Let me write that in now.
Here we go, folks. Here we go.
What's he pulling out
It's going
now?
to be one of them standing on top of the bleachers.
The scorer's table.
Just for little Z. I carry little Pryor with me everywhere I go.
Joe,
And
get a little shot.
Good luck, Joe. No, good luck, Joe. Says Lil Z.
Who is
you
it?
call it, you want it. Terrell Pryor. Look at that form. They say he can't. They say he don't got good passing for him. Look at that form.
I know. If you notice, you won't see him in a
That's
pro
a
uniform.
great, that's a great tattoo, man. That's great tattoo work. That's some great artwork.
All right, we're
You
done
want
with the
it, you
fiction
got
and
it.
fact. You added to that segment. Mini Me Z was all happy there in his bucko uniform there. And now we're going to go to one of my favorites right now, Chips Trivia Time.
All right.
Chips trivia time. Well, it's been kind of a busy weekend and Monday and Tuesday for me, but I did dig up a few little
Nuggets?
Nuggets.
He throws those
Nothing
nuggets out.
spectacular, but July 22nd, 2005. Great day in Pittsburgh Penguin history. You know what happened on July 22nd, 2005? Pittsburgh Penguins won the draft lottery and selected Sidney Crosby as
Really?
as their number,
I
as the
guessed
first pick in the draft. So a little shout out to Sid the Kid. Also, the baddest man on the planet in 1963 was Sonny Liston.
Yes, sir.
And he beat Floyd Patterson for the second time in less than one round, knocked him colder in the mackerel, to retain his heavyweight championship belt, which he did hold until a young upstart named Cassius Clay shocked the world and took the title from him in 1964. Wow. So Sonny Liston, recognized his pummeling of Floyd Patterson. Also, last week was the All-Star game, and I forgot to mention this last week with the All-Star festivities going on, but in the very first All-Star game played, 1933, there was two Pittsburgh Pirates that played on the very first All-Star team. One was Pie Traynor, the other one was Tris Speaker, okay? So, and the reason I mentioned Pie Traynor, because on July 23rd, 1930, Pittsburgh Pirates played a doubleheader. Pie Traynor hit the game-winning home run in the ninth inning of the first game. hit the game-winning home run in the 13th inning of the second game.
Wow.
Really?
Nice little accomplishment.
22
there.
innings for a guy.
22 innings, one day, and he got the game-winning home run in each game.
Was he juicing?
No.
No, sir.
Pie trainer, he liked pies, that's why.
And then, you know,
And he had a famous saying that I told you before, who can? American. Heating and cooling.
okay.
He didn't say Mexican?
They didn't know about that.
They didn't have them back then.
They were fighting the war in Mexico. Nobody come across the Rio Grande.
Hey,
John Wayne
we
was
fought a war, so we didn't have to hear about what goes on with the royal family. But we still hear a lot about that too.
not royal. He's on chips. We'll
By the
bring
way,
this in.
one last
Gotcha.
little piece here, and
Then we'll talk about it.
sadly, a valued member of our show is no longer with us. I mean,
Whoa.
he's with us, but he's no longer on
What
the show.
happened?
Big Mike Butera.
Oh, okay.
You know, I like to always throw out a little Yankee tidbit for him.
Oh, there's a hat.
But on today, July 23rd.
What year?
Oh, geez, I'm going to have to check.
Get your cheater
Let me check my cheat sheet. 1925. 1925.
Wow, that's way back in
The
the time
luckiest
machine.
man on the planet, Lou
Lou.
Gehrig, hit his first of a major league record 23 Grand Slam home runs today.
23 grand slam.
23 Grand Slam.
Was
That's
he
a record
juicing?
No.
that's a record that's
No.
gonna stand in that's like
Perpetuity.
what he said. That's gonna stand
He's
with
a good
DiMaggio's
linguist.
56 game
Linguist.
hitting
Yeah,
streak.
linguist. Linguini.
Yeah,
Hey.
I had some for dinner.
That may stand longer than Jack Nicholson's
Jack Nicklaus.
Jack Nicklaus opens.
Oh yeah, well because and while we're at it, you know.
I know
set-
Tiger's
hold it.
going to win another one.
Let's have your trivia time, then we'll
Okay.
start.
You got
another
any more? You got any
All
more
right, we'll
trivia?
start an open
You got anything
forum.
else?
Trivia time's done. We're starting a new segment. I just made it up. It's an open forum. We got comedy. I want to say what baby with the royal family, first of all. You're posting stuff. There is no royal baby.
I thought that was the baby that was in Scotland that lost the tournament. Tiger Woods was crying because he lost another major. That's 17 in a row that he has not won. He has not won a major title since 2008 when he beat Rocco Mediate in the U.S. Open. So he's 17 and counting, and I have said this once, and I will say it again, and I've said it on the air numerous times. Tiger Woods will never win another major championship.
Never.
Now I like
I
Chip.
dispute
I
that.
like Chip, but I disagree with him on this. Once Tiger heals up from whatever he was taking before, because now his shirts and pants, he's wearing a different size right now, but he can still hit the ball. It's just not straight all the time.
Here's the thing about golf. Golf is supposed to be a gentleman's sport, and there's supposed to be a code of conduct, and he acts like a complete
Well, when he was winning,
moron. I'm not gonna say anything that's gonna have to be
Okay.
deleted, but he acts like a complete moron.
This
He
is
It
live,
can't be
you know.
deleted
He
anyway.
cusses
It's
on
live.
he cusses on the course. He slams his clubs. He's abusive to the people in the gallery. And you know what? That's just no way to treat people. You know, you're out there. You know what? You hit a bad shot. You got to suck it up and smile. And
Yeah,
you
but
know,
his popularity, people still love him.
Yeah.
My
He
dad
just got a
only-
big endorsement deal from Nike, so apparently he's still.
You know what?
Well, as long as he used
That's
their
great.
clubs, where's their red shirt?
We
at the
got a
end?
stake dinner on the Pirates making the playoffs. And what about Tiger Woods? Because I never say never. I don't.
He told me that, but we got to never bet. No bet, but an opinion.
No bet. That's Al Levine. You make a bet. He says no bet.
You know what?
It's a difference of
You
opinion.
know, we can all have our own
I'll put
opinions.
$1 up.
I stand by my claim.
All right.
And I disagree, folks. That's why we have it. We got some comedy routines about the royal family and other stuff here.
I thought they were getting ready to run a commercial over Chip.
Did you? You know what? That could happen at any time. It could happen. There's a standing order there. Any derogatory remarks like that, so that'll happen.
We're good. We're good.
Anything else happen with this open forum you have on something that you wanted to talk about?
I mean, we're talking about golf, and like I said, Tiger's gonna get another one eventually. Even if he has to buy it, he has enough money to do so.
Now, you know what, with all this talk about the PEDs and everything, and this is something this is just a personal opinion of mine. I have no facts to back this up.
You think Tiger's
But,
juicing?
you know, I mean, I find it curious that, Tiger Woods was so much better than everyone else for quite a period of time. And, I question whether or not he was, dabbling in the PEDs himself.
He sure could hit it a long way.
But now, not so much, because there's too much attention drawn on, and the people that were arrested that were connected to these things, they were connected to A-Rod. There were connections to Tiger, but somehow that information just seemed to get
Golf Club to the
swept under
Head
the
will
rug.
do that. People forget. This is our comedy forum, so somehow they lose it. But I'm a Tiger Woods fan.
Hey, you know what? You know what they said? The Tiger's ex-wife hit the best 9-iron anybody ever saw. Thanksgiving night.
Well, he wasn't winning tournaments before the 9-iron went through the Cadillac windshield and he fell asleep or whatever happened. He forgot or woke
Ambien.
up.
He had an Ambien dream.
He took a
One too
Ambien.
many pills.
Happens.
Those things happen.
It does.
So if you're taking that pill, we had a guy in Pittsburgh that left and went to San Francisco. He took other pills because they thought they were vitamins. But some you had to rub on because they were clear. So we have those type of things happen. And to me, it's like what I was saying for years about Lance Armstrong. I was a Monday morning quarterback. No, I was there right when the game was being played. Lance Armstrong, I had suspected that for all those years because what even caused his cancer? I used to get in arguments with my dad and everybody else with all the bands. Yes, he did a lot of good. Yes, he helped, a lot of people with cancer.
But he also hurt a lot of people too, because anybody that ever got in his way or disagreed with him or didn't follow along with what he wanted to do, he destroyed people. So
And the interesting thing with him is everybody that lived with him on his team, they all got in trouble. And they all got the stuff out of the same refrigerator. Those are facts. So, they live there. And these are some of the things that happen. Now, with Tiger, I like watching him when he's playing well. And I watched him a little bit here. I was hopeful because I'm still rooting that he gets one more championship. I think he can. He has the ability. Whether he can beat Nicklaus, it's hard. What's Tiger? 38 now or 37?
yeah, I believe he's 38. And,
we all know
Golf
as you
is another
start-
one of those games that
and
is mental.
as, what normally happens with people as they age is their skills will start to deteriorate. You're not as fast. You don't jump as high when you're 38 than you were when you're 21. So
Except for a couple
There's
guys.
golfers-
Clemens,
there's golfers, though, that are still
there's younger
Couples,
athletes.
Watson.
And every athlete that has performed well into their mid-30s
Rocco.
and into their 40s, every single one of them have been tainted by some kind of a scandal. But what happens is there's younger, stronger, more hungry young men coming out there that want it more than Tiger does, and
Well, every once in a while.
People
I
are
think
playing
he's-
better. They're playing better than
The
him.
equipment's
He's lost the
better.
mental edge right now. He has the best equipment in the world. Equipment isn't a factor.
No,
right
but
now.
I'm saying-
he's
And
lost the
everybody
mental
has.
edge though.
Well,
and
and
lefty
because-
Phil Mickelson lost that edge for a long time. Let us not forget he was in a drought of his own. So just because he's
Phil
on the
Mickelson's
upswing now,
43. Let's not forget about that.
golfers can go 60. Like I said, Tom Watson, Rocco Mini. Like there's guys out there that are still hitting the ball
Right,
and
but
putting numbers up.
what they do on the senior tour and what they do on the regular tour, you're not comparing apples to apples.
But they're
there.
still going
They're
into
still
the
playing
opens.
golf.
They play the majors though.
Right,
Most of the.
But how many of them have won?
Well,
They're
how about
still
since we're
competing.
talking
They're
all this
making cuts.
negativity,
They're making cuts.
I like to put a little positivity out there. That how about Phil coming back
Yes,
and
sir.
doing what he did, shooting a 66. Now I'm not a huge golf fan, but that was one of the lowest scores, if not the lowest score in a major, a 66 to win it all. Nobody's
Wasn't
scored
the lowest like Johnny Miller? He shot like a 64
to win it.
To
To
win
win
it, to
the
win it.
last
The
round, which
lowest
is even
round
harder.
ever was a 59.
Yeah.
Was a 59. But Phil
But to win it
Mickelson.
at 66.
Phil Mickelson reinvented his game so that he could win on links courses, because when he originally he never fared well at the British Open because it's a different type of golf course. What they've got here in the United States is they got what they call stadium courses, and it's kind of like throwing darts at a dartboard. But on a links course, it's lengthened, and you have to really worry about hitting the ball under the wind, and you have to play the roll, and there's bunkers in the.
In other words, he hit the ball too high.
You
And
know,
that's what happened.
he did a really good job at that. And here's the interesting thing about Phil Mickelson: he's now won 5 major tournaments, and he's 1 win shy of a career slam, and that would be the PGA, the Masters, the British Open, and the U.S. Open. And he has come in second more times than anybody
6
else
times, I think.
in history.
Really?
6 times he's come in second at the U.S. Open. And, that is one tournament
What
I
if
would
he
like
won
to see
half
him
of
win.
them? Where would he be in the records, right?
No,
Just half.
even if he just won one.
Well,
He was a choke artist for a long time, so congratulations.
Well,
to Lefty.
you can
all
say
right,
he
we're
was a
going
choke
negative.
artist.
Let's switch this subject up. I'm going to go. These guys go crazy with boxing, and I always got to promote my boxing segment because Pittsburgh's going to be the epicenter of boxing. How do I know? Smoking Jim Frazier told me that, and I believe him. Little Z did something. If you didn't see our show, which it's not up yet, I'll let Little Z talk about it, but let me promote him a little bit. I saw first, I was talking about it last night. I never, ever saw a guy build a ring, put the ring up, and then go into the ring, not fighting. Well, he almost did after I left, but he announced the fight. He did a great job there in the heat. Believe me, it was hot. And Little Z, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about the Pittsburgh Boxing 51 and the Pittsburgh Boxing Club event that they had to try to fund their way to Ohio to become champions.
Right now, these guys are on their way on the road to Ohio, to the Ohio State Fairgrounds. The tournament starts on Wednesday, so they could be there as long as Saturday if guys advance in the rounds in the tournament. So
I got my
good luck to
money
Ted
on
Marconja,
Little
Ted Marconja
Teddy.
Jr.,
Little Teddy's my
Little
man.
Teddy, Justin Brooks, JT the Brick, Andrew, and all the guys down there at that 51 Boxing Club. Andrew's fight was scrapped. His opponent didn't show up. David Perez out of Braddock was a no call, no show. So
And there's some tough fighters out of Braddock.
there is, and I was
That
really
Buckley fight was a tough fight with Gibson there, wasn't
Really?
it?
John
Buckley's
Spells
a beast.
and Elliot Brown was a really good fight because that was one of the first times that I ever really seen Johnny Spells like really taking some square shots because he's really hard to hit. But then he kind of settled down and got into his defense, And I noticed when his son's fighting, John Spells Sr. doesn't really say a lot to his son like during the
Oh,
fight.
he does.
No,
Maybe the heat got him. 'Cause
I don't
I've
know.
heard
Maybe
him
he
there.
was hot. Maybe it was really hot out there, but it was a great event. We raised the money to send these guys over to Ohio State, so
There was a
wish
nice
them the
crowd there too.
best of luck
There were a lot of people
Where
there.
was the fight at?
at the Royal, Place.
Wow, that's
You know, when we were at the
Outside.
Golden Gloves Hall of
Yeah.
Fame, Jimmy Savetic was there. He was in rare form, folks.
Yeah, he was.
You had to see and hear him. He's just a legend. I asked him how his travels went with that white-collar boxing. He said it's unreal with what he said, and he doesn't know what they're going to cut out and what they're putting in there, but he's excited about that white-collar boxing. He was excited. He even talked to a couple of these boxers, and he was congratulating these kids. They're young men. They put a lot of time and effort, and they were in great shape.
But there
to
was
be in
some
that heat.
poor sportsmanship taking place, though, from some of the folks from Braddock.
I
Kind of
missed
were a
that.
little upset at the decision and were kind of coming my way. And I had to remind the folks that, hey, I'm just the messenger. Here's the judges, around the ring. Like, I didn't score the fight. I'm just announcing the fight.
Hold it, wait a
And
second.
that was one of the first times in my life where when I saw some of these rulings from the judges, I didn't want to say it out loud because I knew what was coming next because I watched the same thing. I'm like, wait a second here. Come on, guys. Come on, man. Like,
Well,
okay.
you know what?
And I wasn't in charge of security
if there's a
either.
security issue, Renner Contracting. But you can see these fights, folks. I posted them up. Thanks to JT the Brick. He posted up. There's like an hour
He had a tough
and
fight.
59 minutes of boxing. So I don't know how you're going to find the fights. Just go through it. But every fight that was there, it's on tape. I went through the whole thing. I saw different boxers each time. I think there were 8 bouts because one was canceled, something like that.
We had 10.
10? Okay.
Yeah, because we put one in. There were supposed to be 11.
Oh, okay.
So
Because I know I heard a couple might have canceled and guys showed up. So it was a great venue for it.
It
We'll have to
was.
see good weather again. Not like this rain here. Hopefully it stopped. So that was a good time.
Was it outdoor or indoor?
Outdoor.
We built the ring
Wow. I
outside.
was wondering why you guys said it was hot. I said,
Ah,
oh.
it was very hot. Little Z is such a smart ring announcer. He brought 2 cups of ice. He even took care of me and gave me one bottle of, it was semi-cold water, so
Free?
I appreciate it.
Free?
The price is always right when it's free. And it tasted sweet from little Z. So, hey, we haven't talked any Pirates. We got to at least talk a little bit of Pirate talk.
Sir,
I don't know, man. The wheels might be falling off, Chip.
not at all.
The
Not
arms
at
are
all.
falling
Remain
apart.
calm. I'll tell you what.
Only
Right
one
now,
forearm.
the Pirates are
Hold that steak.
have so much depth in their pitching staff right now that the loss of Jason Grilli, even though it's going to sting a
Tell
little
him
bit.
this young kid.
They've got it covered here. Mark Melanson will move into the position as the closer. He's been lights out in the 8th inning. They're probably going to move by committee. They'll probably
3.
shuttle in Justin Smith, Tony Watson, Vin Mazzaro, and what's
Who
the
got
other
a
kid?
save last night.
Brian Morris. They've got those 4. They're going to do the 8th inning by committee. But what they did was they brought up a kid from AAA that's been turning a lot of heads. Here's a young man. His name's Vic Black. Vic Black's been charted on the radar gun at 102 miles an hour on his fastball. He's
didn't know
pitched
that?
35 innings for AAA Indianapolis. He struck out 51. He's walked 13 batters. His whip, which is walks and hits per innings pitched, is, I believe, a .8, which is an excellent position. Generally,
Under 1's great.
the major league average is 1.3, so he's well under that. So here's another kid that we're bringing up that can help man the fort. The good news about Jason Grilli is they only put him on the 15-day disabled list, and apparently they don't feel that the injury is as bad as they initially anticipated. They probably expect him to be able to contribute and help again until by September, but it'll remain to be seen. You have an injury like he had last night, and I was watching when he was pitching last night. Was he pitching in the 9th inning? He gave up a two-run homer to Jason Worth, and the next guy up, you could tell that he was grimacing when he was pitching, and he tried to pitch through it. And he finally, after the last pitch he threw to the last batter of the game, was a strike, but it was really high up in the strike zone, and you could tell he called the trainer out, and you just knew that something bad was going to happen. And a lot of times you're not going to find out what's wrong with an injury like that for several days. You got to wait for the swelling to go down. I know he was scheduled to have an MRI done, and nothing's been done. But Pirates made a couple other roster moves. They brought Josh Hamilton up from AAA Indianapolis for about.
Not the Josh Hamilton from the Texas Rangers.
Josh Harrison. Excuse me.
Jay
But I
Ham.
mean, for the 24th
You got me
time.
excited there.
No, for the
He said
24th
Josh
time,
Hamilton, and I was
they
like,
brought him up from the
Breaking news.
Indianapolis. But Neil Walker's back on the roster. They designated for assignment Brandon Inge, and Brandon Inge was a great guy in the locker room, but unfortunately he wasn't producing at the plate. His batting average was 188. He
So it's
wasn't
not
getting it
easy
done.
to hit
And what's
in
happened
baseball.
is Jordy Mercer has done a better job at hitting left-handed pitching than Neil Walker is. They're gonna transition those
platoon
two with Neil Walker, and Jordy Mercer has earned himself a spot on the team. Brandon Inge, was a real professional through it all. As a matter of fact, after they gave him his release, he asked to come back down into the locker room, and instead of just disappearing, he went back to the locker room, said goodbye to his teammates, and one of the people that he was spending a lot of time mentoring was Pedro Alvarez, and that.
Did he leave his contacts with him?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
He had Pirates in his contacts one time. He got all kind of colors and everything else. Definitely. So you guys.
well, it didn't help though. So
Well, he said he couldn't hit anymore. He's trying.
No, the problem with Brandon Edge was that Brandon Edge needed to play more regularly for him, and that's why he's played his whole career. And he just the spot playing, which is what he was getting here, he just couldn't get into any kind of groove, and it just didn't work out for him. But you know what?
Right.
He was a professional about it all. The Pirates, thanked him for his services.
so you're still staying optimistic that this
Yeah,
wheels aren't
question.
coming off
We're
this
both
bus.
on that bandwagon. I'm not leaving the
question.
bandwagon yet. I'm
Well,
still
you're
with
drinking the
them.
Kool-Aid.
Zach,
It's delicious.
Zach, you know what? The bats are starting to wake up. Garrett Jones, since the All-Star breaks, had 2 home runs. Andrew McCutchen, 5 home runs in his last 6 games. Okay, the bats are starting to warm up. Pirates are hitting. They've been pitching it lights out.
The arms got to hold up, though. The bats got to warm up, and the arms got to hold up.
You've
We
been
got new
watching
arms.
the games. Have you been watching the games?
Yeah, I've been watching.
Okay, because the arms haven't let down yet. We're in every game that we're playing. So you know what? Bats are going to heat up. It's going to.
It is a long
We're
streak.
going
though,
to
Chip.
continue this pirate talk
Like
next
my
Monday.
streak on Sips Monday nights.
Hey, we'll go back with this, you guys, back and forth on Monday. We only got a few minutes left. I wanted
Remain
Smoke and
calm.
Jim
Everything will
to
be
give us a
okay.
couple insights for the training camp, because the training camp starts this weekend there, buddy.
Yeah, the training camp starts Friday, and one thing that myself and Al Levine realizes is that Steelers had a really soft schedule this year. It's an easy schedule. I think this is the last hurrah with the Bill Cowher players and Bill Cowher's coaching staff and Bill Cowher's system. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they're going to make some hay, it'll have to be this year. And in a couple of weeks, I'll give you my official Steeler record for the season, and I'm
Jim,
3-0 in the last 3
Jim,
years.
I
picking that.
want you to make a prediction for me, if
Yes,
you
sir.
would. Okay,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to put you out on a limb right there. Okay, who is going to fail the conditioning test this year?
Yeah, Casey Hampton's
Hampton's
gone.
no longer on the team. Big
Lamar
Snap's not
Woodley?
gonna be there.
Well,
Maybe they'll bring back Jermaine Stevenson. Remember him?
yeah. Wow. He's a blast from the past there. Well,
Any predictions there, Jim?
we're winding down. We got about 2 minutes. I'd like to get the closing remarks. Mini Me Z wants to say something, and Little Z will back him up.
Well, I just want to thank Dave Cable, Aaron, Devin, this young lad on the camera right here. We got so
Joe.
many great
Smoking
interns.
Joe.
Joe, you guys got to start wearing name badges. I can't remember all these names.
We'll
all
keep
these
introducing
faces.
you to him.
All right,
Don't
thanks,
worry.
you know.
Don't worry, Beard. Look at
Thanks.
the nice job he did on your beard. Thanks, Joe.
Appreciate it. Hi, George. I want to give you a shout out for staying
Who?
at home. Appreciate it. I'm sorry. Why is I laughing so much? He said it's not nice, but he's over there cracking up.
Because you had the biggest head in BPTV history.
Oh, so
as
I'm
a
in the Hall of
George.
Fame for the biggest head.
Well, that's another award. At the end of the
Okay.
year, we have awards.
Okay.
So we're working on that.
All right.
But now Joe has your normal size, so that's good. Smoking Jim, any last statements here?
Yeah, I just want to send out a shout out and a thank you to Alicia Richter and Jessica Danielle for coming in and really showing some love to the Pittsburgh Sports Line team.
Thank you, ladies. We love you.
He always thanks the ladies.
What about all the nice guy guests that you had? Your cousin and cousin, whatever.
What about Claudia? What about Brenner? What about Levine?
Yeah, and Chip here. All right,
What
Chip,
about
what else
Chip?
you got? We're winding down. Give me
Well,
about
we're
20
winding.
seconds left.
I
if
got
you
about
can.
20 seconds left. You know, there's no panic in the Pirates. Everything's going to be fine. Pirates are still going to battle for the division lead through the end of the season. I'm still going to that playoff game at PNC Park this fall.
Well, I'd like to join you. We'll see if I can get a ticket out of that. We'll work on that. But hey, we'll be at South Park. We're going to do some interviews of great cars, great people, and it's all for a great cause, the junior football in Bethel Park. It's all the proceeds. So stop down at South Park Fairgrounds. We'll see you then. Joe, thanks again on the camera. Sorry you lost 2 of your other jobs. Devin's in the control room. Aaron, thanks for Aaron Ward was great yesterday.
She's
Dave
great
Cable,
every day.
Definitely. Thank you. See you next week. Tune in. Verizon 32, YouTube, Pittsburgh Sports Line on Facebook. Be safe out there.
Hello everyone, I am Fiore, host and producer of Outtakes with Fiore here on BPTV, and it's not going to be too long. Short period of weeks before Outtakes celebrates its 500th episode. Now, in the research I've done, 500th episode is going to be a milestone not only for BPTV, but also for film review shows all across the nation. And we'd like you to be a part of it. If you've been a fan of the show for a good number of years, or if you've been a recent fan, we're inviting you to be part of the 500th episode show. All you need to do is give station director Dave Cable a call at this number, 412-831-3304. That's 412-831-3304, and you can come down to the studio and make your own taped greeting that will be part of the 500th episode.